Welcome to Built Different. I'm Erin Sykes, business analyst, real estate professional, and someone who's endlessly curious about the systems that shape how we live, grow, and spend. Each week, I dive into the markets, mindsets, and moments that define our lives, from real estate to wealth, psychology, relationships, and everything in between. Because what we build is not just financial, it's human.
I think I'm built differently because I believe in fun, no matter what. And also because I see beyond what is to what could be. And I have the discipline to execute on whatever that is. I also have instincts, where I can connect people and ideas and environments and then anticipate their needs and navigate the complexity of those connections with confidence. I'm also comfortable making decisions and owning the full process from conception to completion. But more importantly, having fun while I do all of that.
Hey, I'm here with Krista Watterworth Alterman, and you may know her from her partnership with Vesta Home or her company, Krista Home. Krista is a Connecticut-born, New York-trained, and proudly rooted in Palm Beach County. Krista holds a Master of Fine Arts from the prestigious New School in Manhattan and studied interior design at the renowned Parsons School of Design, where she'd returned to serve as an adjunct professor. Krista hosted HGTV favorites Save My Bath, Splurge and Save, and appeared as an expert on Food Network's Restaurant Impossible, and spent 9 seasons transforming homes on DIY Network's The Vanilla Ice Project. So welcome, Krista.
That was quite an introduction.
I know. It took me a couple times to do it, let's be honest.
Okay, but
you
know what?
a lot of things.
It's too much. It's too many things.
You make
me sound so good, though, Erin.
But
Thank you. I appreciate
I think
that.
it's very well deserved.
Thank you. Yes, I worked hard.
Yeah.
But I got here.
Tell me about Vesta Home. Tell me about Krista Home. Tell me about how you got started in this business.
Wow. There's so many things I could tell you.
I know.
I don't know where to start. Okay, let's start with the acquisition. So yes, my company, Krista Home, I call it KH for short, was acquired by Vesta Home, which is a national staging design business, which is basically their core business. And that's what they do the best, luxury staging. Then they also have a furniture production facility, and that is both in the United States and international. So we have a variety of warehouses throughout the United States, where they house their furniture lines, which is also pretty phenomenal for someone in my business. And then they acquired my company to run the interior design side. It's pretty cool, I will say, because the acquisition took place in May. We've really streamlined how we've transitioned, and now the company is pretty much fully integrated into the corporate structure. Coming from a very boutique style interior design business and merging into a very large corporate business, not easy to do. I'm certainly proud of myself and my company building it from scratch and then being sought after for an acquisition. It's pretty cool. It doesn't happen all the time. It was a positive experience, super scary, but very exciting in the end. And I think the reality of it is collaboration is the new competition these days. I think you're seeing this across industries where smaller companies are coming together to create partnerships and to become more successful. And what we do together, we really are going to do better than we can do it on our own.
Yeah. And what I love is that, obviously you are a renowned name in this area in Palm Beach County. And I'd heard of you. I've heard of Krista Home. I've heard of Vesta Home, but I didn't know how all of them were related. And I love that despite the merger and the collaboration, you still have individual identity. And I think that's super important for being able to build your own personal brand.
Thank you. I appreciate that. And that was something that I think was the most scary part of going into an acquisition as a small company. When you're so attached to your brand and so well known in the area. Now we're actually expanding throughout the state of Florida. We're going to have satellite offices north, south, east, and west. And we are, really a big part of growing the interior design business for the company nationally, which is really exciting. It's a lot more work for me.
Yes.
But it's still, it is a dream come true. I always wanted to be, taking over the design world. I never wanted to be a mom and pop shop. And even as a professor or as an instructor at Parsons, I always ask my students, what do you want to be? Do you want to be a one-woman show or do you want design world domination? And there's everything in between.
Yeah, and neither one is really better or worse than the other. I mean, we all want to think big, but there's also superb opportunity in staying small and making sure that you can have that white glove service. So what I love about your partnership with Vesta is that they take care, it seems like to me at least, they take care of the logistics. They take care of a lot of the vertical integration, but then you can do what you do best.
It's so true. They really are allowing us to shine. And I think it's really important for people to understand the difference between interior design and staging design because they do luxury staging design so well. And they've scaled it nationally and created quite an amazing brand around it, around that service. And that's basically different in so many ways. I'm going to say opposite than interior design. Staging design is fast. It utilizes product sometimes over and over again. It's not a personal experience. It's not necessarily a high-touch experience, and it's over once the house is sold. The product is available for people to purchase when they buy the house if they want to, but that's kind of where the relationship ends. For us, we are brought in as interior designers early in the process when a house is being built, constructed from scratch. We work on brand new construction, full-scale renovation. So we're selecting everything that has to do with the build of the home, flooring, countertops, cabinetry. All of my designers are architectural designers. We're a very technical group. We work on large homes. And then, of course, after that, we work on the furniture and, finishing the house to make it a personal story for whoever's about to live there, for the homeowner. And that lasts for sometimes years. Sometimes those relationships go on for 1, 2, 3 years.
Yeah.
So it is very different. The two services are extremely different, but also extremely valuable in their own ways.
Absolutely. For people who have never worked with an interior designer, what does that process look like financially? I know that, you have access to trade accounts. There's maybe some savings in the actual purchase of furniture that you get when you're working with an interior designer. So do the 101 for us.
Okay. I love that question. Thank you for asking.
Of course.
Because it always is the number one question that people ask. And I think the business of design is, when it comes to the client relationship, let's say, we offer a very high touch experience. Like I said, it's very service oriented. And what people are expecting is to be served all along the way. Right? So this is a luxury service. We're not like shoppers that go to Restoration Hardware and, sit on sofas with you. This is, so we always have to, and I used to sort of hide behind the fact that it's a luxury service. Now I lean into it because it's necessary for people to understand that, because our pricing is not low.
Well, you're doing more. I mean, I think you can't shop for this type of service based on price. I mean, I think that you can go into any Crate and Barrel or Pottery Barn or Restoration Hardware and use their design consultants. That's not the same.
You're so right about that. Thank you for saying that. That
it's
warms
noticeable.
my heart.
As an agent, it's noticeable when you go into a house that's been truly designed, that has personality, that doesn't look like staging. Frankly, I think when you go to just one store and use their design services, it looks like staging.
Yes.
It's different.
Staging has to appeal to the masses. Interior design appeals to one person or homeowner. So that's also a big differentiation between the two services. And you're right. I was taught by amazing working designers at Parsons. They taught me that it's very important that each home represents the homeowner, the people who live there. It's their family brand. So when you look at my portfolio, you'll see such a variety of styles. And that's just our mission.
Yeah. Yeah. It brings us back to this collab that you have with Vesta Home. So Vesta has some of the best staging in the industry. I think that the homes that I have seen staged with Vesta, 100% sell faster than those staged with another company, or maybe just wide open spaces. All the furniture has been moved out, which is like the worst when you're selling a house that has no furniture in it because you don't get spatial recognition. You have zero personality. Yes, it can be a very neutral space, but most people, like buyers, don't have imagination. They really need to see furniture in action. So can you explain a little bit about what you do for a staging project? How do you make it appeal to the masses versus an independent project that you might work on for Krista Home?
That's also a really good question.
Oh, good. I'm trying to lean into what, I mean, you're a very unique person. And
thank you.
This is an amazing conversation because we get both sides. You know, we get the staging and we get interior design, which is rare.
Yes, I appreciate that. My company does not do staging design.
Okay.
We only do interior design. And Vesta is built upon very talented staging designers. So we work very differently. And I think that's probably the one part of the acquisition that has been a hurdle that's been hard to jump over. And that we're not a staging company. We are still a high-end luxury interior design company. And that separates us from the staging itself as a service.
Yeah.
So they're just extremely different. And I think as a business owner and someone who's very attached to my brand and like what I've built.
Your name is on it.
My name is on it. They are a phenomenal group of professionals. I had a meeting with my leadership yesterday, and every single time I meet with them, it's like mentorship. Like they teach me how to be a better entrepreneur. They teach me how to be a better business owner just through not only their level of intelligence, but their care for wanting us to succeed, because obviously the bigger company will succeed just as much with right upon our success.
Yeah, exactly. All boats rise.
Yeah, absolutely. So
when Vesta stages a property or when Krista Home furnishes independently, do you use the same logistics network, like the delivery services, or how does that work? Or how does Vesta manufacture furniture?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Vesta manufactures furniture. We have warehouses throughout the country. Their biggest hubs are Los Angeles and New York and San Francisco. And we're building the Florida market.
Yes.
So yes, they do have their own manufactured furniture overseas and here in the United States. But what we do is extremely different. That the logistics around interior design is a white glove experience. So the warehousing is different. Dealing with claims and issues with product is different. And it's just a different animal, unfortunately. So, but we are working on melding these two together and figuring out how we can make it work with one warehouse. We have a 50,000 square foot warehouse here in Fort Lauderdale. And we're really trying to figure out, how do we make that work? How do we bring together the staging product and the interior design product, even though the services are a bit different?
Yeah, it's my understanding that one of the most challenging things for designers is the timing of everything, especially when you're working with like a new construction home. The deadlines keep getting pushed back. Maybe HVAC is not completed and you can't move your stuff in. And then you have warehousing kind of like bottlenecks. So I would imagine that's where Vesta could help in terms of streamlining the process.
Oh, absolutely. Wow, you know a lot about this.
It's not my first rodeo.
Yes. I mean, part of what we do, I like to say that our service is at the level where we can help and manage when there's issues in construction, like sort of a mother, watching over like her family or her crew or whatever it is, like someone sort of that is the adult in the room that helps ensure the calendar and the deadlines stay on track. So that's kind of a big part of what we offer.
That's a huge advantage. That's a huge reason why to hire an interior designer, because a layperson really doesn't have the ability to do that.
It's so true. It's so true. And, there's so many people involved that there has to be someone who can coordinate between the architect, between the contractor, the subs, and of course, our product and our service. It's a lot of things happening at once. And to be able to manage those details effectively, it really does take someone who's in charge of all of that and managing and organizing it. And that's kind of what we do best.
Yeah, somebody who knows all the players well. And
Totally.
then, I want to go back a little bit to, you do get discounts on furniture, you get trade discounts, but then you have a design fee. So explain again how that works for somebody who wants to use an interior designer for the first time. Obviously, it's going to be different, different scale, different price points, everything. But what should somebody going to an interior designer ask them? Like, what does their first meeting look like?
Well, the first meeting for us, once we're hired, you mean?
Once you're hired or you're interviewing different designers.
So the intake process is different because it depends what the client experience has been prior to us. Have they worked with a designer before? If they have, they kind of know the process. If they haven't, we have to educate them, right? But I think that during that process, it's very important for people to understand that it is a luxury service. It does mean that you're dealing with a group of experts, some of the best in the field, some of the best in Florida, I would say. My team was like handpicked. And, over time, we really finalized on a really phenomenal, talented group of people. And so that is something that we lead with always in the process. And that was something that was also really important in building my company, is having some of the best in the industry under our umbrella. So we have to educate them on that and the cost of that. So yes, we do have a design fee. It's a flat design fee. It's usually based on square footage and the scope of the project. We compartmentalize the service. First, it's the build service, and then it's the furniture and finishing service. So it's 2 phases. They pay for both. And then, yes, we have long-standing relationships with vendors and trade product.
So I think just to help people rationalize, like obviously you're making their life easier. You're making their space look much better. I mean, clearly stand out head and shoulders above what an individual can do for the most part. And you are taking a design fee for your skill set and for like all of the wonderful individuals that you have on a project. But it's like a bonus. People don't understand that they're actually paying less for the actual furniture when they use an interior designer.
It's true. I mean, you're buying furniture that is usually handmade, custom made, and our trade sources provide a very high quality product. And we also have what we call a product management fee. We have a project management department. We have a purchasing department, procurement, operations, all of that part of the project.
It's not a markup. It's a cost of doing business. It's it's actually a pass through to the individual that's hiring you, because that's what is really, I guess, the most crucial thing for them. Yes, of course, we love to see the final product and like all of the creativity and like the individual pieces that you find that fit the personality of the owner, but like really you're there to make their life easier, and that's what's making their life easier.
It really is. It's allowing people the chance to have a completely one-of-a-kind home.
Yeah.
And that again is something I leaned into early in building the business. I knew that was going to be something super important to that message was going to be important for our type of clientele.
Yeah. It's all about the individual, and it's about the white glove service. And I think when you're dealing in luxury, it's not necessarily at the end of the day about just the delivery of whatever you're doing. If it's me, it's a sale. If it's you, it's a beautiful room. It's about really the hand-holding process along the way and making sure that everybody feels comfortable, that you're taking whatever stress off their shoulders that you can, that you're optimizing financially and logistically. And it's just like a clean, easy process because that's what people pay us for. They pay us for ease and they pay us just to deal with it. Like they don't want to hear about the hiccups. They don't want to hear about the headaches. They don't want the stress. They're outsourcing all of that to us.
Absolutely. I'm actually reading this book right now called Fanocracy. And it's all about like creating raving fans in your clients. So people who are, and in a business like mine, referrals are everything. And so it's really important that they're not only like loving your product, they're fans of your product or your service. And I think that goes across all industries, no matter what type of business.
Yeah. I think it was Warren Buffett or Charlie Munger that said you have to delight the consumer. Like that is how you grow your business. You don't just satisfy them, but if you delight your consumer, that is the one thing that you have to do to build a business. It's really actually quite simple when it comes down to it.
I totally agree with that. And I think it's being able to say yes, even when the answer is actually no.
Yeah.
And my husband and I like to go to the Four Seasons. It's one of our favorite hotel chains. We don't get a lot of time off. But when we do,
yeah, fair.
I'm like, I will pay extra, whatever, $1,000 or $2,000 a night just to go stay at the Four Seasons for that level of service and for the expertise of that staff. And the last time we were there, I kind of put this to test. It was like midnight. I called down and I said, I would like a peanut butter cup. And it was like, I knew everything was closed. There was no shop. There's nobody in the kitchen making peanut butter cups. Yeah. I was like, I'm going to see what they actually do. You know, wouldn't you know, 20 minutes later, a guy comes up on a silver tray, a peanut butter cup. And
that's quick.
I was like, that is what great service is.
Yeah.
You figure out a way to turn a no into a yes. I don't care if it means someone on the staff has to run to the 24-hour Walgreens to get me a peanut butter cup. And that's what people expect in Palm Beach County.
That's exactly it. And I know you started your career, your education in Connecticut and New York. How does that influence how you operate here in Florida? Because personally, I still have my New York and I love the hustle of New York. I love the pace at which people work. And my one gripe with Florida is sometimes people are too slow.
Oh, God.
It drives me crazy.
Please. I know exactly what you're talking about. I feel like it really is about obsession. Like passion isn't enough. And I feel like New Yorkers have that obsession, like that need to be successful, that need to want to rise to the top, that need to be amongst the elite and the best in whatever industry. And the competition is so fierce. I lived in Manhattan for 11 years. So, and, you know, born and raised in Connecticut, which it's similar in mindset. And so when you come down here, the way people are born and raised is different. Yeah. You know, I don't know if it's the suburban mentality as opposed to, you know, sort of the city mentality, or it's just New York is a different animal.
New York's different. And if you spend enough time there, and it's always, I think 10 years is that like that crossover. So there's a lot of people that maybe do 1 or 2 or 3 years in New York and then they go and they move somewhere else, build their families and business, et cetera. That's not enough time to get it into their bones. You've got to be there at least 10 years. Then it's in your bones and you can't turn it off. Like once you're a hustler forever.
I totally agree with that. I remember going to like visit my family on the weekends when I lived in New York City, and I would like sleep for 2 days because it's the beat, it's the energy. Yeah. It just doesn't stop. You hear it, you feel it. It's constant.
It's a buzz.
Yeah. And so it's just that type of energy that I'm always looking for in the people I hire too. I built my company around that mindset that it's really important to have something that comes deep from within that you want to accomplish, not for Krista Home, not for my brand, but for yourself, you know, under the umbrella of my company. Yeah. And, you know, everyone around us reaps the benefit of a personal success, a need for personal success.
Right. You have to, and I think that goes across the board. You can't just have these arbitrary goals because your boss set them or because your brokerage set them or, whatever industry you're in. It really doesn't work out unless you are truly hungry at a deep level. No amount of motivation will ever get you to the next level. You have to really, really want it in a guttural way.
Absolutely. And I think for me, that changed. I used to really nurture my team, and try to get them to be brand ambassadors because my brand is so amazing.
Mm-hmm.
And that just doesn't work.
It doesn't work. Yeah.
There has to be a visceral sense and need of something from deep within personally that makes you want to grow and succeed.
Yeah. It's funny because I've been slowly building out a team, right? And we operate in New York, New Jersey, and Florida. So 5 markets within 3 states. And the problem or the interesting, I guess, takeaway that I've been running into is that I am not a nurturer. I do not want to teach you how to work hard. You either have it or you don't. If I see it in you, then you're welcome to join this team. But you cannot expect me to be there crawling on the ground to draw it out of you if you're not, what's the word, where you just opportunistic. If you're not going after the next thing, there's no way you can train somebody to do it. I'm convinced. I've tried, doesn't work, and it's not worth the time as an operator.
I completely agree. I can just put myself in this situation. I grew up in a relatively, dysfunctional home. So I had to learn to be a successful human before I could learn to be a successful business owner. And I had to work on myself. It's almost like they say on the plane, you have to put the mask on yourself before you help anyone else. And it's so important that the structure of our lives as successful people, as successful business owners, start from us and our strength, whether it's mental, physical, whatever that is. There has to be a culmination of that strength at one point where you make a decision, I am going to kick ass as a person. And now I'm going to kick ass. I'm going to take that philosophy, that mission, that mindset, and now I'm going to kick ass as a business owner.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think that's why it's so important. How somebody does one little thing is how they do everything. And I did a lot of yoga over the years, and it's always take, off the mat and into the world is a big theme. And I think that flies true over and over again, because if you get into somebody's car and it's a mess, that person does not have executive functioning skill. They are not an organized business person. I will judge you. I will judge you the minute I meet you. And if I feel like your life's a mess, you're not getting hired.
Yeah, I completely agree with that, because I've been at this for 18 years. I've had lots of different, team members, hired lots of different across different channels. And you're right. Our outward world is like the inner manifestation, or our inner world is the out. Hold on. There is a right way to say this. But you're right. When you see a disorganized person, a disorganized home, I can put it that way.
Yeah.
Then you know that this person is not organized mentally because they're living amongst chaos.
You can't fake it. Maybe they think they're faking it. Maybe they fool some people. But when somebody opens their purse and receipts are falling out, forget, I know you are just never going to work with us.
Right.
If you're late, it's never going to work with us.
Right.
So I think that that's super important when you are building your team, when you're building a business with your name on it. You have to be kind of severe in who you will and will not work with.
Yeah, I think there's a sensibility of being a leader that can be a positive sort of cheerleader to a degree, but also not accept certain things about the employees, right? And about the staff and what they bring to the table. But I think if you go back to what I said originally about people wanting to do something because it comes from deep within, wanting to succeed because it's a personal mission, a lot of those other things like disorganization are just not present, being late for work, because they have a mission.
Right.
And they're going to do anything to get there and to succeed. So those are the people I think we both want on our team.
Agreed, 100%. And I think that does come from the New York aspect, from growing up. I grew up in New Jersey, lived in New York. I'm still there part-time, like 17 years now. And then same thing with Connecticut. It's just like, I think it's innate. And I think that that's one of the advantages that we have as operators within Florida, that we bring that sensibility and the ruthlessness of the Northeast to this area. And, as we see the migration continue to shift, people are getting more and more demanding here. They were always demanding, but now it's kind of outward, and it's not being hidden. It's not behind closed doors. And you need to make sure that you can satisfy these people in that white glove service, and also be able to talk the talk, walk the walk. So I forever will be a loyalist to Manhattan and what it has given in terms of training and chutzpah.
It's hard to take the New York out of the girl, right? It's hard.
Absolutely.
It's like almost impossible. It becomes part of like your DNA. I'm reading this book now actually called Mindset, and it's about how people can learn anything if they have the right mindset. And the way you build the mindset is surrounding yourself with the people that can support it to push you to the next level. And it's not about DNA. It's not about being born with some type of expertise. We all can learn just about anything. And I think he uses Mozart as an example. Like Mozart had a passion and obsession from a tiny child for music. And he was surrounded himself by people that helped him build a mindset of success. And that propelled him to success. You can't do it alone, and you have to learn it. It's not necessarily something you're born with.
Yeah.
And so I think that's a really important thing, that for people to understand that you can really do anything if you put your mind to it.
It's genuinely true. And it's also true that you're not an overnight success. I mean, in terms of what it took to build Krista Home, yes, it came like a full throttle here in Palm Beach County. But tell me about what you had to do for the decades leading up to now, to before Vesta came to you and said, hey, we want to buy you. Like, how did you get there?
Well, I think it was a lot of trial and error.
It always is.
It definitely takes failure in order to succeed. I really had to shed the skin of being a television personality and a television designer in order to arrive in a very different world of luxury design. DIY design and luxury design are two different mindsets, two different philosophies.
One's about speed, right?
One's about speed and what you could do on your own inexpensively.
Right.
And the other is about luxury high-end service where people are walking you through the process each step of the way. I just watched the Victoria Beckham documentary.
Love her.
I know. And she talked about like how she had to stop being posh spice and shed that skin so she could arrive as a very high-end couture luxury, designer. And that took years. So that was really part of my process is figuring out how I shed that in order to arrive to the place where I am now. And so that was not easy. And what I did was I buried that part of who I am for a really long time, up until recently, and realized that it is part of who I am. I can't hide it. And it's necessarily, it helped me grow to who I am as a business owner. So it was necessary for me to go through that to be who I am today.
So most of the shows that you did, and just to reiterate, you had Save My Bath, Splurge and Save, Restaurant Impossible, Vanilla Ice Project. So how are each of those kind of different? And your experiences, how'd you get into this TV space?
I actually wanted to be an actress. I wanted to be a television series regular actor. So I wanted to be on a television series. And I was actually out in Los Angeles doing a bunch of auditions. I lived in Manhattan, but I was auditioning for series regular roles in in California. And my agent said, and I said to my agent, I'm not booking anything. I have to pay my bills. What should I do? And he said, well, why don't you try auditioning for some television hosting? Because those are easier gigs to get. And then while you're TV hosting, you can be auditioning for the series regular roles. So I said, great. Came back to New York City, did a little video for my agent. My boyfriend shot me showing off my tiny little New York apartment and all my little DIY projects. And from that video, I got my first hosting gig. And that was Save My Bath. So that was the trajectory. And then what happened is I did interior design. I was a host of these shows. I did no interior design because they had full art teams. And then I realized, okay, I think I would like to do this myself as opposed to having other people do it for me. And that's when I studied at Parsons.
Oh, so it's like the television inspired you to really dive into the interior design. Because mentally, I was kind of thinking it was you were interior designer and then being handpicked for these shows. But instead, it was you're an actress who was led into interior design from being inspired by these shows.
Isn't that crazy?
I think that's the reverse of most people.
Absolutely. Well, HGTV back then, this was 2004, 2005. HGTV back then there weren't like a lot of actual designers that were hosts. So that's kind of how they hired. That was the formula of the shows back then.
Okay.
Now it's the complete opposite. They're hiring personalities who also have expertise in design in one way or another. And so it's completely shifted in the other way. And now they do their own work. The hosts do their own design work. And back then we had, like I said, art teams doing design work for us. So
do you feel overall, I kind of feel strongly about this, but how real these shows are? And actually in the episode I did with Holly, like we kind of dove into the different reality brokerage shows. And I was on Crazy Rich Agents, which is on the BBC, and I did Selling the Hamptons. And I think there was other ones, but like the long short is I really loathed filming this content because I just was like, oh my God, it's taking so long. Like I was like, clock's ticking. Like I have real clients I need to attend to. And a 12-minute hit or spot took 8 hours to film. And it was like mind-boggling to me. So that was just like selling though. That was just brokerage agent stuff. What about the design shows? Like I'd imagine there's like some timeliness to something like Save My Bath where it's like, let's get this done fast. Like, is the timeline in the show real or not?
No.
Not at all. All
right. There is a lot of pre-production that goes into, before we even get to shooting. And you're right, 8 hours for 12 minutes is exactly the correct ratio. That's why when I was doing design television, I couldn't really run a design company because I was traveling all over the country, and becomes your life. But I have a little bit of a design superpower in that because I was shooting so many shows at once, I had to design without even stepping foot into a lot of these spaces. I had to design from floor plans, from videos, from photos, and from talking to the homeowners, interviewing them. But so that means I never stepped into a lot of these spaces, fully designed them, had everything on site ready to install prior to cameras rolling.
Wow.
So that's kind of how it worked back then. I would imagine it's similar these days because shooting is expensive. Crews are sometimes 50 to 60 people. It's every day costs money. So the more you can get done prior to actually going on camera, the better it is. And then they're showing a lot of the drama that's happening. Some of it's real. Some of it's a little
inspired,
dramatized, let's say. But it makes for great TV.
Yeah. And so do people in most of the design shows, do they actually end up living there? So if it's like a situation where you're redoing their bathroom And there's a couple on TV. Is it actually their bathroom?
Oh, yeah.
It is. Okay.
Yes, totally.
So that's the real part of it.
That's
It's
the
like
real
you're
part.
really helping people to design their spaces.
Absolutely. And what was nice about that is nobody could tell me they liked it or not until we were on camera. So I got to design
So
without
that
any
reaction's
opinions.
real.
Yes.
Oy.
Now my clients have a lot of opinions, obviously,
Yeah.
because they're paying a lot for our service.
You
but
get those in real time.
absolutely. So, but yeah, we wanted reactions to be real. They call it puppies in tears. In television, you want them to walk in and just be like, start crying because they're so happy.
Mhm.
Hopefully,
Yeah.
because they're happy. Hopefully they're crying because they're happy.
Crying one way or the other.
Either
But
way, it makes
I'm sure
good TV.
with everything you did, they were crying from happiness.
I hope so.
So I do have a question about, and I know you get this one a lot, but Vanilla Ice. So what's he like to work with?
Rob is phenomenal.
Yeah.
He is just an amazing human being. He's wild and funny and kind and definitely edgy.
Mm-hmm.
You know, his crew is edgy. They're just a blast
And he's
to be
a
around.
real developer. I think people outside Palm Beach County might not realize this because we're used to seeing his projects here. Like we see them all the time. I think he's based in Wellington.
Yeah.
But, outside of Florida, like he's legit. It's not Vanilla Ice anymore.
It's true. I mean, he's built a phenomenal business. He
Mhm.
really has. He has great people working with him. I work with a lot of his subs as well on other projects.
Mhm.
And I'll be honest, I think the behind the scenes of the Vanilla Ice project is probably more interesting than the Vanilla Ice project. Like any of these reality
Naturally.
shows.
Yeah. I can't even imagine.
I think Bravo capitalized on the behind the scenes. Their shows are all sort of about that kind of drama.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I worked with him for 7 years.
Wow.
So, it's pretty phenomenal to have that kind of relationship with someone for that long. And we really just loved working together. We actually shot a pilot for a new show that did not get picked up, but it was
Okay.
called Vanilla Ice Flip Advice.
I love that. Okay. It's like a rap.
Oh, yes. Everything rhymes with Rob.
Yes.
But yeah, it was just a show about 3 flippers coming and pitching their flip to Rob. And he chooses which one of the 3 he's going to invest in. And then he helps them flip and sell the house.
Oh, I like that. I'm surprised that wasn't picked up.
So good.
Yeah.
It was so good.
You have to repitch it.
I know.
Now, were you with him in or filming with him in 2018?
Yes.
Okay. So this is like an interesting additional tie between the two of us.
Okay.
At the time, I was selling on air at QVC, but I took a vacation and I went to Bali to go on a women's surf retreat. Super fun. Flew back through Dubai and was on an Emirates flight with Vanilla Ice. So he was in first class. He was on the upper level. I was on the lower level. But everybody on this plane was coming back from a pilgrimage to Mecca and was sick. And so long, short, every toilet on the plane overflowed. It was a literal flying infirmary. We landed at JFK. The FBI boarded the plane. I sent out a tweet like somebody picked it up, Anderson Cooper or Lester Holt or something. And so when we were coming out of the airplane, all of the microphones were being forced on Rob, on Vanilla Ice, and on me. So now when I, Google my name just to double check that everything is kosher up there, he always comes up on my Google search because we were on this flying infirmary together a decade ago.
That is an insanely cool story, but also horrific in and of itself.
Yeah, it was absolutely wild. But I have to say it helped me parlay those interviews and make a reel. And I went into this on the episode I did with Holly, like how to start in the kind of TV side of the brokerage or design business. Like you have to kind of have a kitsch. And that was it.
That's so cool.
So thank you, Rob.
I know. He is
Weirdly.
just, right. Somehow you guys are connected forever.
I know. I appreciate it. He really helped me. So
he is a great guy. He's super helpful that way. It's true.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, what other kind of plans do you have for the future? Like, where are you going? What's your next steps?
I am just excited to be in the room with a phenomenal company. I love Vesta so much. I love the mission of the company. I love the people. And I'm excited to grow the interior design, the luxury interior design side of that business. I'm super excited about that. And I foresee it going really well in Florida. We're already doing a lot of work in Miami. We're going to grow to Vero next and then out to Naples. And then the big plan is to take it national. So that's kind of, I guess,
You'll
the
be busy.
trajectory. Yeah, I'll be busy for sure.
I love that. And so where can everybody contact you for either your independent design counsel or for more staging needs with Vesta?
Well, you can get to my website at kristahome.com, or we are actually on Instagram at Krista Home.
Perfect.
And I think those are probably the best two places to find us.
Yeah, keep it simple. Well, thank you so much for coming and having this conversation. I learned a lot about the difference between staging and interior design and basically how to continue to help clients, whether agents are listening to this and they need to refer you to their buyers or their, people that are building homes right now, or the value in good staging and how it truly helps a house to be sold much faster, or, people that are just listening because they have design kind of awareness and they have an aesthetic themselves. I think that you're a great follow for them.
Oh, thank you so much. I appreciate it, Erin. This has been such an honor. Thanks. I can't wait to get to know you more. I want to hear more of these stories.
I don't have that many more, but I'll dig something up.
Awesome. Thank you so much. I loved it.
You're welcome. Thanks for listening to Built Different with Erin Sykes. If you enjoyed today's conversation, please be sure to rate, follow, and review the show wherever you listen to podcasts. For more insights and updates, follow along on Instagram and share this episode with someone who's building their own version of success. Until next time, keep building a life of value because we're all built a little different. I record Built Different at Pod Plus Studios in Jupiter, Florida. To reach my real estate team, visit sykesproperties.com, and to reach me directly, email Erin@sykesproperties.com.